It's crunch time at work, and we've all been doing a ton of overtime. Who would think of taking a trip anywhere now? I would. They say a change is as good as a rest, so come with me as I put that to the test on our very first episode of Around the Bend. Hi, my name is Michael Leigh Gresham, and welcome to Around the Bend, a podcast and video series about what it really means to travel. This trip, we head to Vancouver Island, the largest island off the west coast of Canada. This was a short but sweet 2-night trip over the weekend in between a busy time at my day job. So I had a reoccurring theme for this journey, which was to take it easy. I thought this was the best place to start this podcast because I grew up in Victoria, which is at the south end of the island. My parents still live nearby in Sydney, and I think it's the perfect spot to explore from for a couple nights stay. So, if taking it easy is the theme for this trip, you might find it odd that I took public transit to get over to the island. Well, to begin with, the transit system in Vancouver is pretty good. I would say buses are generally on time, and the SkyTrain can be busy, but it's a great way to commute and get in and out of the city. Driving around Vancouver can certainly be a bit stressful. Yes, I still drive over sometimes, but I typically avoid it when I can. If you are planning a trip to Vancouver Island by car, I highly recommend reserving a sailing beforehand. It'll cost you an extra $25 each way, but give you peace of mind when organizing your trip. It's 5 p.m. on Friday. I take off from work and catch the SkyTrain downtown Vancouver at Waterfront Station. The Canada Line train heads out of downtown northwest towards the airport, and I get off at Bridgeport Station. From there, I catch the 6:20 express bus to Tsawwassen Terminal. Something about that 30-minute ride relaxes me, and I nearly fall asleep. Luckily, my eyes are open to count the 17 blue herons alongside the waterway before arriving at the terminal. One travel tip to note at this point is that there are usually two express buses that will line up with your ferry departure to Swartz Bay, Victoria. I like to catch the earlier one to give me a little more time to wait in the waiting area and get my ticket. At $17, it's not too bad a price to walk on as a foot passenger, and buying your ticket in person can sometimes be faster than the ticket machine line.
We'd like to welcome you aboard BC Ferries and to Spirit of British Columbia.
The windows are pretty large on the ferry, and you can usually see clearly outside. This is the time to sit back and get ready to take in the views of the Gulf Islands as they pass by. This is your 1.5 hour transition into island life. I get picked up from the waiting area and head to my parents' house after exiting the scenic passage to Swartz Bay, but buses are available and usually line up with the arriving ferries heading into Victoria. As a reminder, bring coins for the buses, as they aren't operated by the same company as in Vancouver. It's Saturday morning, and I can already feel the pace slow down as I get an incredibly quiet sleep, waking up to a fresh, beautiful day. It's time to let the relaxation flourish. One of my mom's favorite activities on Saturday to do during the summer is hitting up the local farmers market. So bright and early, we head out and make sure to arrive at 9:30 a.m. sharp, right before the bell rings and we can start foraging. There are a few seasonal farmers markets around, and the one we're at usually has live music. The fresh baked goods, coffee, art, and fruit and veggies look amazing. We filled up our baskets to bring home for dinner tonight. My mom and I then said hello and goodbye to some locals and their pet goats they brought by to the market. After, we went through the thrift shop they have on site to look for a bargain before heading home. Something to mention at this point is to remind you that there are a ton of activities on Vancouver Island, such as Victoria and its many great food stops and local shops, Tofino and its beautiful beaches and surfing, also hiking and snowboarding at Mount Washington, just to name a few. They all deserve their own episodes, possibly in the future, but I have decided I won't get much further than about 10 kilometers from where the ferry dropped me off at Swartz Bay. As the theme for this is to take it easy, keeping the distance traveled down helps to give me more time relaxing and enjoying one area and its surroundings. Do you ever feel like you need a vacation from your vacation? This is why I didn't want to do anything too strenuous or too time consuming. Now it's only 11 a.m., and my dad and I decide to catch up and grab some brunch. There are lots of great spots around Sydney and North Saanich where I'm visiting this weekend, but one favorite is Tonelli's Deli. It's an inconspicuous gem of a breakfast restaurant. It's got character, nice staff, and the patio is warm and welcoming on the hot summer day. This was the first time I tried their pesto Benny, and it is mouth-watering delicious. I highly recommend it, and I will add a link to Tonelli's Deli in the notes below. After we ate, we finished our coffees and brought out a map to plan some ideas for a future Vancouver Island trip. I really enjoy planning and traveling with my dad. We're both passionate and interested in seeing the world and how it works. Before we knew it, it was time to head into the town of Sydney for a haircut. I've got to be honest, I'm normally an in and out type of haircut person, but since I wanted to make this weekend about relaxing, I went all in at the Cut Cartel barbershop. I spent the next 2 hours chatting with Darren and his puppy, getting a hot shave, face mask, haircut, and head massage. Sydney is a small town, but it has a little bit of everything. Family-run boutique shops and restaurants, marinas full of boats of all kinds, lots of ocean-dwelling activities like whale watching, sailing, and an aquarium. I think a lot of people pass Sydney by when they head to Vancouver Island, but as their slogan says, Sydney by the sea, it really does have a seaside town vibe. After my haircut was finished, it was time to make dinner at home, cooking up the food we got from the farmer's market earlier in the day. After dinner and catching up with my parents, my dad and I head out to the local movie theater in Sydney called the Star Cinema. Just another great family-run activity that I really enjoy about the island. It was a short drive back and it was time to finish the day. It's Sunday morning and the pace is right down, just how I want it. With no real expectation on this day, knowing later I would be heading back to Vancouver, my parents and I slip over to the patio at the Fickle Fig Farm Market. This place will never let you down. This bakery and bistro with an Italian flair is always a no-brainer place to go when you just want to have good food and a great atmosphere. Again, just to note, since I got here, I haven't gone further than 10 kilometers from where the ferry dropped me off at Swartz Bay. We sat around for 2 hours and had some good old-fashioned conversations with our morning coffees. Once we finished, we head back to my parents' house and just unwind with some music, because that always feels good. I don't overwhelm myself with activities today and pick an early 2 p.m. ferry. I help my parents with a couple tech issues they have, and I help move some things around the house. Then I pack my bag and leave for the ferry. After saying my goodbyes at the ferry terminal, I grab my ticket, walk on, and head straight to the CUS Lounge. This is another little gem of a place if you're looking for a quiet spot to kick back and take it easy. At $13 a person, the Sea West Lounge is totally worth it in my opinion. It has complimentary light snacks and is a mandatory quiet area which is separated from the rest of the vessel. It begins to rain outside the window as I do some writing and watch the Gulf Islands pass by again. This passage went by before I knew it, and after walking off the ferry at Tawasin, I was lucky enough to get a ride home by my sister. We catch up with one another on the car ride home, and I arrive at 4:30 p.m. back in Vancouver. It was a successful, short but sweet 2-night trip just over to Vancouver Island and not much further past the ferry terminal at Swartz Bay. But the food was tasty, I kept it local, and I took it easy.
Your attention please, passengers, the seats are also speaking on the bridge. We departed for 11 minutes after the hour. Heavy traffic and expect to have you in Swartz Bay at 8:50. 8:50 arrival at Swartz Bay terminal. We will be in your
Next episode, we do a loop around British Columbia, traveling through different ecosystems, and I can't believe we find a snake around the bend. Before arriving at the terminal. One travel trip.